Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that it's fluid, rules could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know that the message tends to go to the person that needs to hear the message because we're magnets of who and what we need for our healing, right? So, when we're talking about shadow healing, and that's this type of channel, I do look at everything, but we take more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they played as karmic themes. Because a lot of times you want to know, why is your person acting the way that they are? Why are you attracting that person into your life? What's the spiritual significance? In order to shape shift the situation, there's many different realities that play out at one time. It's just we tend to relive the same karmic theme because we're not aware of how we are manifesting that particular experience. So the readings, like I said, do look and see what your person's going to do, but we focus more on your healing because if once you raise your vibration, you will probably wouldn't even resonate with that person that you're connected to if it's a real karmic mate, because karmic mates you could be really attracted to, and there's chemistry, and in the beginning it's fantasy because you don't know the person, but then once you get to know the person, then what happens is you see that their actions are not in alignment with what they say, and they become less attractive. You no longer resonate with them because you can't see them differently. And that helps you break that karmic cord. When you're like, I can just feel that person around me. You wouldn't be able to feel them if you were like into your own, whatever, really passionately into your own life. Our brain holds on to that connection until it is replaced with another passion. That's the art of transmutation. You are the alchemist of your life. So you can say, no, that I can't do it. It's understand you can, but you have to integrate the spiritual lesson and then transmute that negative energy by replacing that action, that behaviorism with something else that's going to be more in alignment with who you are today. Now, if you don't follow, just watch and you will. Anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you can find in the description box, including the word of the video. If you want to enter into any free reading with me, you have to be open to getting a shadow reading. You have to like the video, subscribe to the channel, write the word of the video in the comment bar. It's said in the beginning, so sometimes we forget. So instead of having to rewind it, you just go to the description box. Also, if you're someone that's in need of life coaching, my life coaching does include inner child healing, shadow healing, reparenting, all the healing modalities to help you heal the effects of trauma, as well as we find your soul's path and your gifts. And I help you on that journey because a lot of times say, I know what I want to do, I just don't know how to do it. That's a grounding issue. So understand that's when you would need a coach. All right. I think I covered everything. If I didn't, just go to the description box. I'm sure you'll find whatever you're looking for. Oh, and you'll know if you won if I wrote the word winner underneath your comment. And the directions of what you have to do are in the description box. All right, let's see what the word in the video is. Hope everyone's having a good day today. The word of the video is fear. And I'm going to pull another one, though I'm already getting information. Obviously, whenever someone has fear, we know that there's, they need healing. There's only two energies, love and fear. So again, we go through an experience. It causes psychic trauma. Psychic trauma is psychological trauma. And we form habits and behaviorisms that are in alignment with whatever that experience was, which in this case, I feel like you're connected to someone that's stuck in that fight, flight, freeze. So they're not really doing anything because they don't know what to do. This is what I'm feeling. And again, greedy. Well, I feel like they were leaving a connection or they were already out of a connection, but this person got greedy. They're greedy, and that's again people that come from a fear-based consciousness usually grow up in an environment where there's not enough, right? Not enough money usually. And what else comes from that is a lot of dysfunction. because everything is built on, you know, the parents' perceptions of who they perceive that they were, and they're not making enough money. They're struggling. They don't have good relationships. So we see a real like bad severe root chakra imbalance, the lack of connecting to the roots. And why that's important is that you're going to be expecting feels like home and acts like it's to act like home, and that's to show you unconditional love because home is that. And they're not going to know how to do that. And they're not going to know how to do that because A, they grew up in that environment, and B, every single relationship has had some sort of aspect, which is usually addictions, which is usually what happens when a person feels bad about themselves and feels like they can't make money, they don't have enough. It's tiresome. It creates a lot of head chatter. Person looks outside, so they're more primal, survival, again, logical, analytical, too much masculine energy, not enough feminine energy. Sorry. And what is God? God is both feminine and masculine. What's the universe? It's again made up of both. Why? Because it's the same thing. And that's the energy of unconditional love. That's the energy that's inside of you, the energy that's inside this person. However, they're blocked. And wherever we're blocked, we've disconnected from that aspect of our perception. I don't know what's going on with that perception of who we perceive that we are. And so, again, habits and behaviorisms were built from childhood. And if they were never presented with any other reality, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know. And I feel like you're someone that, again, is not greedy, but you're someone that's not really logical and analytical all the time. You're more of spiritual, you're more emotionally intelligent. And like I said, I don't feel like you focus so much on greed, but again, there's a lack there because you're a mirror of whom what comes into your life. So it could just be relationships don't really work out for me. And I also now don't trust this person. So that's where the fear comes from. So again, you're a mirror of who and what, and it's all about the person being insecure. Insecure. So let's see what this person actually did, what it was like to be connected. Not that it's really important, but we know that it's not going to be good. Just because, again, they have a severe root chakra imbalance. They don't show up for themselves. That person lives by their addictions. They live only from their emotions, and their emotions are like a child. It wants what it wants when it wants it. And it doesn't care about anyone else except for self. It's the lowest of energy. When we're talking about the devil, what do you think we're talking about? We're talking about a consciousness where it's all about myself. It's all I care about because I'm in survival mode because of the perception. So if I see you succeeding, that's going to trigger me because I'm insecure and I feel like there's something wrong with me. So you're going to see again the lowest of the low of energy. And it's just because, again, that fear state consciousness, and we don't want to get involved in a connection like this to start. And you would know because a person's not emotionally intelligent, they hold back. There's always a sense of, again, like you're questioning everything that they say and do. Again, excessive. So of course you'd be seen as like overstating a situation like it too much, where this person is excessive with their behaviorisms. So if they drink a lot. If they cheat a lot. It's like they don't do it a little bit. And that's someone that, again, remember that Guns N' Roses song, I used to do a little, but a little wouldn't do it. So a little got more and more. Well, that's what happens with addiction. It's like, but to the point that it's self-sabotage. It's shame. It's the lowest of the low energy, what you're dealing with. I just want you to know that. Again, so you'll look at it and you'll be like, I'm not like that. Why the hell would the universe bring me someone like that into my life? And the spirit says, are you entertaining it? It's like, is that where your mind is going? Savior. Well, understand the wounded healer. tends to again be the savior sometimes, not recognize, well, I felt like I could help them. Well, I felt like, and so understand this person also tends to be the savior sometimes in order to fix their messes. But by the time they try and do that, it doesn't matter. But the people will take their help, but then it's not like they can repair the relationship. Hey, Whitney, it's not like they can ever repair the connection. It's already done. So this person then, but you say, why would they do that? Because their ego will say, see, I'm not such a bad person. See, I'm not such a bad person. And you will do it because you'll say, I know what it feels like to struggle. And I don't want anyone to feel that way. So again, there's the wounded healer, and the wounded healer hasn't healed thyself enough, is what spirit says. It's like, because you can't, because the more you would give, the more this person would take, and the less and less and less they would give. And that means disrespectful too, because again, I'm selfish. It's like this person has been trained from that type of environment. So you have to watch out for these type of dynamics, because it's not like there isn't a connection. Expectations, and everybody has expectations. And this person knows that you would if there's a connection, right? And you probably also someone that says, well, I've healed enough to like state what I want and be able to communicate. Yes, but communication without different action just secures this person that you're not going to go anywhere. It's like, because they're not really listening to what you say. They don't trust anyone because they don't trust themselves. They're the devil. Remember that aspect of themselves. Anything that's all for myself, it's all for me. I don't care about you. I don't care about you. Only for me. That's that consciousness. It's survival. Now, when we're in survival and a bear is running after us, we're not thinking about our neighbor, nor should we. Sometimes you can't think about it. But to stay and live in that environment, do you realize you're conditioning your nervous system? Your chakras are your spiritual body. Everywhere where you have a chakra, you have an endocrine gland. The seven main ones are those psychological and emotional aspects of yourself. That first chakra is connection to the physical world, the physical body, all physical elements of the physical world. So we know that this person has a problem with money. That even if they can make money, their money looks like this. It's a lack of that support. That's that support where they're not supporting themselves. And we can't just look at money as money, because money is just an energy. So again, I'm feeling like you're someone that looks like you're very strong. Now, that doesn't mean that you're financially like really abundant, but I feel like this person sees that with inside of you. So we always see this little attachment, right? This is how we know attachment, instead of, which is need. And then again, the person is attracted to you. So there is a passion. But what you'll see is this fragmentation there. It's like, because they're not actually building a connection. They're in avoidance. If that's their addiction, the little wouldn't do it. So a little bit got more and more. Where their time going? It's on talking to other people, making me feel better. It's on drinking so I don't have to think about my life. It's on escapism, any which form. And then, of course, you saying something. Well, now you're seen as, you don't shut up about it. You're just excessive about it. You see? You're excessive. What is that? We see a second chakra imbalance, which is all about control. And that's what happens, where trust and intimacy get affected, because it's like, well, now I don't trust you. And you're making such a big deal over everything. Now I'm really emotional, the emotional center. So again, we can see how the imbalances. So when we see severe root chakra imbalance, you'll see like bipolar behavior. You'll see like sociopath behavior. And I only care about myself. I don't care whether I hurt you emotionally, because I'm hurting. Like my life, look at my life. That's this person. And I don't believe that there is another way. I don't believe it. It's like, again, where I feel like you live a life that's like, it displays that. And the fact that you're strong. This person never winds up with strong people. It's again because they don't offer anything. So, it's all within that low vibrational energy. But understand spirit also brings people into our lives to help us change. I mean, but what we see here is there, and you were like, that. It just felt like it was nothing but deceiving. Like this person just was always, you know, trying to get over one way or the other. And I feel like the lack of transparency will always make you feel that way too. Like because you don't really know what's going on. Second chakra imbalance. It's, you know, person doesn't know who they are. They don't trust. They're going to try and control through deceiving. So you're never going to be able to make the right decision for yourself because what is it? The person is controlling. It's all led by fear, and so these are the behaviorisms, again, that we get in our own way. That's what we see here. This person just gets in their own way. And yeah, so what they'll do is they'll, like, again, instead of giving you the time, they'll ignore you or make you feel ignored. And like, but it's really because they feel like they feel inadequate. They feel displaced. So understand when there's a lack of connection to the body, again, lack of connection to the root chakra in the here and now, in the present, only in the now do you get divine guidance through gut, intuition, inner knowing. But this person, where are they? They're in their head, deceiving, strategizing, trying to figure out why, because they don't trust themselves. Second chakra imbalance. It's again, we don't trust ourselves. Only in the now do you get divine guidance. Didn't you hear what I just said? You can't control. How do you know? You got to know because in that moment is when you're going to feel. And you'll know because your heart, your head, and your gut will be in alignment with the God part of self. The God part of self is the deity part of self. That allows you to create your heaven on earth. That's your spiritual sovereignty. But understand this person is again in that devil energy. You see, I only care about myself, and I need to feed because again I feel empty and I grow away from myself. So again, the person it's like doesn't know who they are. And there's all like abandonment issues, but that's you say, why do I attract this person? It's my life. And spirit says, well, you probably grew up with a parent like this. It's again that had some of these behaviorisms. So it's all about again like this is why. Because of abandonment. It's the weaving in and out of life, showing up sometimes, not other times. Other times being made to feel bad about yourself for no apparent reason. It's like just because the parent is having a hard day, because there's a lack of money, there's a lack of support. So again, but the lack of support is because I inherited an ancestral karma. But spirit says, but who cares? It's like again, you're not your ancestors. It's you're inherited those behaviorisms and habits, those belief systems. So the life looks the same, but now look at it. It's not working, God says. The universe is crying, saying everyone's got to step into their true energy, their best self. Their best self is their higher self, and that's the God part of self. And that's by again the path. You got to show up for yourself. Spirit says, "Me first. I'm a jealous God. Look at you trying to save this person." It's again you abandon yourself. This person's definitely going to abandon you because it's again you're the flavor of the week. It's like, and it doesn't mean that there's don't have feelings for you, but you're better off having this person chase you, make the ego the devil that wants what it wants, what it wants, what it wants. That's obsessively thinking about you. You give them nothing. This is spirit says you have to train that devil. It's again, you don't get what you want. You're not love. It's again, that person doesn't want to feel separate from love. That hurts. That hurts. But here it is. Look at you bringing the whole platter out. God says, look at that. Even the Twinkies. I don't think so. Not today. Spirit says there's karmic consequences for that. Because it's abuse and that's what happened. It's like you're like it's the same energy. I just feel like I keep carrying around the same energy with me. It's affecting me because it's been with you for a long time is what spirit's saying. And it hurts because you're like I do feel like this person had a connection to me. I do feel like, and they do, because there is that God part of self in everyone that recognizes, hey, you feel like home. Yeah, like when you're a soulmate. It's like that part is still very much there and wants to be there. Believe me, it's the ego got in the way, the life situations, the experiences. You know, what was going on collectively for your ancestors? Did you ever think? Spirit says, did you ever think about that? How much pain and suffering your family has gone through, and you want to know why life looks hard because you have no spiritual like hygiene about clearing the effects of those perceptions. It's like of that was an experience, so you have to look at the experience different. You can't say that you didn't go through the experience. What did I teach you? You have to integrate the spiritual lesson if you're dealing with this type of situation. And this is what Spirit wanted to talk about today. So I don't know why, but it's a more type of therapy situation. Somebody out there is dealing with the same nonsense here. And so it's making them really feel like they can't have love, that they'll never really be able to have love. And Spirit says, but you are love. That doesn't make any sense. You're saying that you don't have what you are. It's like, so you have to, again, you have to heal the effects of that trauma because it'll take you away from yourself, the true self, the higher self, that, when you're connected to someone that you resonate with, you can just feel it. You can feel it in the gut. And Spirit says that that person, you do have the capacity to reach that person, but you can only get there if you're in that energy, and you can only stay in that energy if you're not with that person. And but that means it's not all or nothing. Spirit says, how about try and be a friend? How about, like, again, don't control, surrender, you know, and it means, like, because you'll want to curse the person out, you'll want to, like, deal with that person in that way over time because they're the devil, like like that's the best way I can explain it. It's like you're selfish and you don't care what you do, you don't care about the pain. It's all about you. You're very selfish. Fear of death. I feel like the ego death. But again, this person is just intimidated. I wanted to know where they are now. Projection. So they're not really healed. As you see, it's again, fear of death is fear of the old way of anything. The ego is running the show. So death is just the death of party time. It could be, like, and I say that because um, it's an aspect of who they perceive that they are. And so they still are projecting. They're still angry. So when a person needs to surrender their ego, it's not done very easily. It's usually the person really has to hit rock bottom. The problem is that this person has lived in survival mode for a long time, so they've been on rock bottom. That Spirit says, well, the next step is like almost like jail, or it's like, you know, it's something worse, sickness. It's something, like, again, that will prevent this person, because again, this is out of alignment for too long, and you have to take that into consideration when a person lives in survival mode because of their own ways, their own habits. Of course, they're going to look for someone to save them. And as the empath, the highly sensitive, you, especially if you grew up in an environment like this, it's like, well, it's comfortable for me. Like, it's not that I love it, but it's like I can live with it. I've learned how to live with it. And Spirit says, like, you can eat like rocks every day and deal with it, but why would you? It's like, because I know how, because it's familiar. When Spirit says that energy is not for that one person. It's like, because this person is not strong. Again, they can't deal with anything that you'll say. You can't have a conversation with the person that's in this type of energy. Everything they hear is criticism. So you can say, are they going to come back? Are they going to do? Listen, because there is chemistry. Okay, I look over here. I have a deck. It just said, the chemistry is off the charts. Um, I feel like again that means that it can be, I want a new beginning with you. So eventually this person may want to come back and have a beginning because it's, you didn't allow this person to destroy you. So, and also if your life looks good and they perceive that you're strong and they're just not in a good way, well, they're going to go circle back to the person that at one time showed them some compassion, some emotional love, but understand they're still the same person. Would they act grateful? Of course. Would they try and do things for you? Of course, but it wouldn't last. Once they get comfortable, if people fall back into their old ways. The whole point of this is spirit saying, you know what, I don't think that you're really ready for a relationship yet. It's like, even though you say that you want a relationship, I want you to make a person chase after you. You want this person, you have to make them chase after you. It's like you have to make them. Their heart is closed. Their heart is closed. I don't give nothing. It's like, why? Because this happened, this is what I know. That's not reality. God says the universe says that person is doing their job at this point, which is why they live in fear and why they can't believe. But the ego is still like, again, we have that essential part where we desire to have love and have things. And so spirit says, I bring the soulmates, certain soulmates into life because of the way that they live, to show them this is a different perception. This is what you thought this person was going to do. This person didn't do any of that. It's again, and they're actually in this life. And that makes this person change. And also because of the change and seeing something different and that connection, this person again feels passion. It stirs it up. Like, I feel like I can be with you. You feel like home. And spirit says, yeah, now you have to make them chase after you. And not really because even if you want them, but spirit says it's always when a person becomes wounded, it's for the other person to bring them to God. And that's through making them surrender their ego, which is fear. Over time, that subconscious mind becomes part of the ego. And so you don't want the ego to run the show. And Spirit says the ego runs the shows, which means at one point in time, you were around somebody, parent, sibling, somebody, ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, um, that was very wounded, and it made an imprint. It made an imprint on your subconscious mind of fear of, I'm going to wind up with somebody that like is all about themselves. I'm going to wind up with somebody that, that, and it only takes one bad relationship, unfortunately. So without the soul integration, you need to integrate the spiritual lesson. Say, why the hell did I bring this person into my life? Because I never want to bring another person like this into my life again that has this type of character. And it's because they were wounded, Spirit says. Only two energies, love and fear. So you'll be like, but mine doesn't look like that. And Spirit says, well, again, you've done healing. And, but you grew up in similar environment. So again, certain same spiritual tests. They're going to teach about compassion, forgiveness, and other things too. And that doesn't mean getting back together with the person. It means you didn't ruin me. I learned how to let go of, that anger, that resentment, suppression. Well, if that's, these are your inner child wounds. And when we see the inner child wound, we see the same karmic theme play out within our relationships, which is what makes us have that perception of, no, no, this is my life. No, no, did you see? I have proof. And Spirit says, that doesn't override the spiritual realm. It's like, yeah, in the physical realm, but there's many different realities that play it at one time. Why don't we figure out why you keep deciding to do the same thing? It's like you do the same thing, you get the same response. So again, suppression, afraid of someone keeping me down, someone controlling me, someone organized chaos, where it's like, yeah, it was functionable, but everything was hard. Life was always hard. And that's because when you have parents that think a certain way, and that trained behavior of, it's not enough. What if this happens? What if that happens? Like everything's a And because it's in the anxiety response of, I'm not sure that I'm going to be okay, like with doing this, not trusting themselves. So of course the parent didn't trust you because they didn't trust themselves. So they were projecting. So life was, you functioned. It wasn't like it, but it was like, if there was always an issue with whatever, which gave you that energy. Like, I don't know, I feel like inadequate because there's always an issue. Meaning, like, if I was supposed to bring $5, I bring $2, and then I have to go back home. And of course, it's a spectacle. And of course, the spectacle is making me feel bad about myself. So the universe was always, you felt like always telling you, like, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. When spirit says, well, that's because you kept doing the same thing, you know? And so, again, you have to do something different. So the spirit's saying, there's a root chakra imbalance. What do you see? Well, that person also grew up in an environment that created that root chakra imbalance, and that's what it looks like. I feel inadequate. I feel like there's something wrong. You're like, well, I've been working on that. And the spirit says, I know, but that's why you get the test. And the test is, you got to ground that new consciousness. I want to see you walk through the fire now. Again, the person gonna, come back. They're gonna be like, how are you gonna handle that? Are you going to handle it like me? Or are you going to say, you freaking loser, asshole, mother freaker? Are you going to do that? Because Spirit says, I don't handle things like that, just so that you know. Um, you know, so are you going to scream at them? Are you going to ignore them? Because I wouldn't really handle it like that either. Understand, because the person's wounded. It's like, but they don't deserve it. They did all this other stuff. Spirit says, again, it's not about them. This is about you. And it's like, and that's what it is. And then you're like, I really have a hard time with that because they made me feel this way, this way, this way. And Spirit says they couldn't have made you feel that way unless you had that. I brought you that person to awaken those things for you, to help you. That again, the no time and no attention, making you feel unworthy. Again, not enough, not good enough, being ignored. It's the same thing, of like there's something wrong, where Spirit says, and because of that, your emotional needs weren't taken care of. You weren't really as disciplined as you should be as a little person. You know, you was told to do that homework and you didn't do it, or you were told to do something that, oh, I don't. You were concerned about getting your emotional needs taken care of. To be loved, to be liked, because again, that's what happens when you're brought up in that type of environment. It's like, so you look for the answer outside of you. Spirit says, when everybody knows the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it, Spirit says. It's like, but you weren't in that energy. You were in that energy looking. So you like maybe again bought a lot of clothes and wore a lot and tried to make yourself look nice and be over accommodating and be the best person, the nicest person. But all those things were exterior, which only made you feel even worse and made you stay in a place of lack, instead of grounding your energy and disciplining your energy by being consistent. Again, mastery comes in doing. We're all David going up against Goliath. God says, please don't do my job. Do your job. Be like childlike. Be in the passion for life. That's my energy. That's the energy of love. That's the energy of the universe. But look at you. This person took you away. Were you still trying to get that love from outside yourself? Because the devil is watching too. The thing, oh, I hope that person goes for this one. They're real good looking. They'll make them do all the sparkly stuff, to catch your eye. And it's not going to bring you safety and security, just the same as when you were growing up. Not going to feel safe with the person. Not going to feel secure. Why life is always difficult. It's not enough. I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. And Spirit says, all that is devil consciousness that brings pain and suffering. And you are unconditional love. You're the energy of the universe, man. the energy of the stars and the sun and the moon and the galaxies. You're abundant. God says, I made you in my image so you would have spiritual sovereignty, but you're caught up over there because of the ancestral karma. So again, we had to discipline. When there's a lack of the security and safety, there's a lack of discipline. So the person feels, I'm not really good at anything. I don't really know who I am. I don't know how we got here, but I noticed that everybody else has seemed to make their life work. That person has a job. This person has this. And Spirit says, stop looking in that garden. Your garden's actually even nicer, if you tapped in and you say, oh, the broken. And Spirit says, I work my glory through the most broken. It was like, but you got to ground yourself. You have to, again, show up for yourself. You have to reparent yourself. You have to love yourself. And this person, again, isn't. When you discipline yourself and you show up for yourself, the universe says, they're disciplined in themselves. You see that? A little bit better today. A little bit better. A little bit better. A little bit better. A little bit easier. A little bit. Again, the energy builds. And Spirit says, and before you know it, you're going with the flow of the universe. And you don't know where you're going because you put it in the universe's hands. And the universe says, well, my plan's better than yours. You don't really, you don't really have the capacity that I do. It's again, but you're here to learn you're not separate from me. And so again, Spirit says, so you have to give yourself the time and attention and not in a chaotic way either. Spirit says in a calm way so that you can always be tapped into your higher self. Because again, you got to be prepared. If you're grounded and you're in your passion in the moment, your gut will tell you. And then your claircognizance, which is, I don't know how I knew, but I just knew. And Spirit says, because I was telling you, that's why you knew. I was leading you because I don't abandon you. You abandon you when you perceive that there's something broken and when there's something wrong. And then you see this wounded person and you say, I want to help them. Spirit says, don't you wish someone would do that for you when you don't need that? You don't need that. It was like the illusion is that you need that. Don't buy into it. Don't let the world tell you who you are, Spirit says. You know who you are. And it's all to live authentically and boldly, unafraid to be yourself. Live out loud, meaning Spirit says, don't dim your light. It's about like, if those aren't your people, they're not your people. If people drop out of your life, guess what? It's to only make room for the new people. There's always a space between what you sow to what you reap. So some people will fall out. You'll have a little time out where you're like, wow, I feel like I'm kind of by myself. Like no one's really around. And Spirit says, it's just, we're intermittent. We're like, the movie break. We'll be back shortly. Go get your popcorn, go to the bathroom, do what you need to do, have a cigarette break, come on back in, and we'll be going and you'll be in a new phase of life. How'd that happen? The universe said, well, because you put it in my hands. It's like, again, there's a time. Everything's timing. So don't dim your light. It's like if the person can't deal with it, then they can't deal with it. Spirit says you always want to be true to yourself so you attract exactly the right people into your life. Deep wisdom. Again, Spirit says this is the time to trust the innate knowledge and insight that you possess, that you have the answers. It's about when you live your true self, your higher self, and you make that time to tap in, even just in the quiet time of your day, well, you're going to be led if you're on your path and you're living like your truth. And that means, hey, I always wanted to take that class. I felt like the other day I saw this and I got inspired to do that. You know what? I always wanted to learn this. Spirit's like, this is a grounding issue. I work through the universe. I don't just work through you, through gut intuition, inner knowing, and in the now. I work through the universe. So you don't think that I know what you like. You think I don't know what your type is. God says, I know what your type is. I know everything. So it's again, focus on yourself. There's a lack of faith. And that's the problem, Spirit's saying, because you're out of alignment. And so this is a time of a little bit quiet where you're like, nothing's really going on. Like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, what? I'm in park. And Spirit says, you're not. It's like it's time to, again, polish up, take a little cigarette break. You know, you don't have to go, 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 go. That's survival mode. It's okay to actually take some time to reflect on your life and the things that you want. So because you're going to go into a transformation, I told you, we're going into the next level. You know, again, just like the caterpillar and the butterfly. You know, you don't see that caterpillar running around, do you? It's quiet. It's quiet time. Time of that is thinking about what's my life going to look like when I'm a butterfly. I wonder what flower I would want to sit on. I wonder what house I'm going to be on. You know, whatever. It's like dream, consciousness, spirit saying that's what the time is, transformation. It's a time of letting go of the old, come into the new, and that wouldn't have happened unless you wound up with this person, spirit saying that shit, that shitty shit energy that needed to go. You know why? Because it was affecting, like, look at our bank account. Oh my god. It's like look at the lack that there is and the abundance, almost like we're thinking that we don't have enough. What the universe is abundant, everybody knows that. And you're like, well, not in my world. And spirit says that's you got to take yourself out of that world. There's many different consciousnesses. Why would you choose to land in that one? Quantum jump into the reality that you want to experience already. What are you're waiting for someone else to do it? Oh, spirit says people can help you, but you're the one that's got to do it. Spirit says, because I want a relationship with you personally. And how are we going to have that relationship? If you go and have to ask Sally, what if Sally's not around? Who are you going to ask? Spirit says, no, you have to, again, get it yourself. That's how you get strong. That's how you get confident. And then you're abundant because, again, you're living your truth. It's, again, you're being true to yourself. And that's what Spirit is saying. And leaves us off with one last message, which is, we should have known, being true. Spirit says it's always about being true to you. Like, again, this illusion that you're not good enough, the illusion that there's lack, that there's illusion, it's all because of what you lived. But that's not reality. That doesn't need to be your reality. It was the reality for them because it was an unconscious choice. But you are learning, you're healing, you're here to break the generational karmic curses. 700 generations, it's about time. That's what it says in the Bible, that we inherit 700 generations of family karma. That's a shit ton of karma. Like, it's like a negative karma, not to mention our own. And Spirit says, and it needs to be wiped away, and it can be wiped away when you're true to yourself and others, that you remove the mask and stop creating illusions, that you have confidence in who you are, and you reveal the good in yourself. Do not need to hide or prove anything to anyone. Like I said, this person was like making you like kind of feel like you had to prove yourself. And Spirit says, replace shame with the power of love and truth. And what did I say about the shame in the beginning? Spirit says, that's why it's like not living true to thyself. It's like, again, that you have the power inside of you. If life isn't working, do something else. Spirit's saying, it's like you have to trust. We're going to leave that there. Thank you for sharing your energy with me. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, everyone else. And I will be back on later. Peace out.